So first of all, I want to apologize for the clickbait thumbnail. That's just a one-off joke that somebody wanted me to make. But anyway, I did actually want to talk about this card because it kind of feel like it's being overlooked a little bit to me right now. Maybe it's because it's from the unset, I guess, but it is one of the cards which is legal in card formats like Commander and Legacy and whatnot. If this one in particular looks weird to you, it's because it's just a printout that I made for the video because I don't actually own a physical copy yet, but I will soon. But yeah, I think this card is really good and is maybe being overlooked at the moment. So it's called Starlight Spectacular. It's a 4-mana enchantment for 2 white. Has this Parade ability. That doesn't really matter. What does matter is what it does. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose creatures you control one at a time until each creature you control has been chosen. Each of those creatures gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature chosen before it. Places everyone, the first creature in line gets +0/+0. So this card is legal in formats like Commander and Legacy and whatnot because it has this stamp here. And essentially what this is an Anthem type of card. We've seen many kinds of cards like this, and typically they're pretty good. There are some that are much better than others, but we can compare this to some other similar cards to see just how good it is, or how good at least I think it is. So the first one, let's compare it to Glorious Anthem, nice and classic. It's just, creatures you control get +1/+1 for 3 mana. So Glorious Anthem is playable. It was printed in M21 recently. Let's lay out some creatures here. So say we have, I don't know, maybe 5 creatures. The deck that I'm going to put this in is my Hazazon deck, so we're going to go with Sand Warrior creatures. I only have 1 Sand Warrior though, so we'll use some other things. Here's 1, 2. This Hedge Ape can be a Sand Warrior. We got 3 Sand Warriors. Snowman, there's 4 Sand Warriors. How about this? So let's compare them now. If you played Glorious Anthem, you would get +4 power and toughness, because you have 4 creatures and each of them get +1/+1. Okay, so what if you have Starlight Spectacular in play? You choose your creatures. 1, this gets nothing. 2, this gets +1/+1. 3, this gets +2/+2, because there are 2 creatures behind it. And 4, this gets +3/+3. So you get 3, 4, 5, 6 power and toughness, as opposed to just 4 with this one. So right away, you can start to see how this card can be better than this one. This does cost 1 more mana, but it's definitely worth it, because imagine if we start adding more creatures, the power and toughness boost is just going to get more and more. Let's compare it to something else, though. How about a card like Tempered Steel? This is another take on the Anthem type of effect, but this one is quite good. So this one does occasionally see play in competitive decks, I believe. Not like tier 1 things, but this is a competitive level card. It's 3 mana once again. Enchantment, artifact creatures you control get +2/+2. So, your creatures get +2/+2, but it has a caveat where they have to be artifact creatures. You'll see that often on cards like this where it'll be an Anthem type of effect, but it might be better than Glorious Anthem. However, you have to meet some kind of condition for your creatures to get the extra bonus, like an artifact creature or like creatures of a certain type or whatever. This one, though, it's just any creature. Let's say these were artifact creatures, though. If we had Tempered Steel in play, we would get +8 power and toughness. So in this one situation, Tempered Steel would be better. What if we add another creature, though? I'll use this City's Blessing. This is another Sand Warrior. So now with our Tempered Steel, we would get +10 power and toughness for our 5 creatures. However, with Starlight Spectacular, we would also get +10 power and toughness, because when you choose this one, it gets +4/+4. So at that point, you're getting an equal boost in power and toughness. What if we add another creature, though? And you can kind of see where I'm going with this. So what if we have 6 creatures? This one will be represented by this piece of ginger. In this case, Tempered Steel gives us +12 power and toughness. Starlight Spectacular, though, now gives us plus the 10 from before, plus another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now you get +15 power and toughness. And for the more creatures you have, obviously that gap between the level of power and toughness you get between each card is going to get wider and wider. So let's add another one. This can be Gogeta here, can be another Sand Warrior. So we have 7 creatures. This would give us +14 power and toughness, but now Starlight Spectacular is giving us +21. And you may think 7 creatures is a lot, but the deck that this would go in is a go wide deck, so getting 7 creatures is really not that hard, especially in Commander in a deck like that. So I would comfortably say that I would probably run this card over this card. Honestly, I would probably run both in the same deck, but you get what I mean. Now here's the big comparison though. How does it compare to Cathar's Crusade? I think we all pretty much know that this card is super good. It's kind of a busted card, but how would this compare to Cathar's Crusade here? Because in a go wide deck, this is the card you want to be playing. It makes your board massive, puts counters on all your creatures, and is kind of a game ending effect. So, looking at the two, overall, I would say probably Cathar's Crusade is still better. However, there are several ways in which Starlight Spectacular here is actually better than Cathar's Crusade. One obvious one being that it costs 1 mana less. Another, though, is that with Cathar's Crusade, you typically have to wait a turn cycle before you get any massive use out of it. Unless you have a lot of mana and it's really late in the game or something like that. Because you would spend your 5 mana, play this card, and then it doesn't give you a boost until another creature enters the battlefield under your control. With this one, though, you play it and you get the boost that turn, so it has a more immediate effect. The really cool thing with this, though, is how you get to choose which creature gets which amount of boost to its power and toughness, because you just choose each one. It doesn't have to be like in a line like I was doing. I could say, 1, 2, 3, 4. But what you can do with this is use it to just one-shot your opponent, because if you have your commander in play, you just choose this last, so it gets, the highest boost in power and toughness. If you have a bigger board, it's going to be, way bigger than this. But just choose it last, give it some form of evasion, trample, flying, whatever, maybe you can make it unblockable. Then you can just attack and potentially win with commander damage, depending on which commander you have or how much commander damage has already been done. So that's something that's really cool about this card that I think is actually better than Cathar's Crusade. As I said, overall, this is probably still a better card, but I would probably just kind of do the thing I mentioned before, where just run these both in the same deck. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, I guess, because maybe this card is being overlooked a little bit. Like, honestly, for me personally, I didn't even know this card existed until someone showed it to me at FNM when I was doing an Unfinity draft, and I was like, wow, that's actually pretty decent, and it's even playable in Commander. I could actually see myself playing that in a deck. So let me know what you think. Am I crazy for thinking this card is as good as it is? Or maybe have I just missed the discussion about it and everyone knows it's good already? Are there any decks in particular that you're looking forward to running this in? But anyway, if you're still watching, thanks for watching. It'd be cool if you can like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. I'd encourage everyone to come join my Discord server. You can find a link to that in the video description below. In the video description, you can also find my affiliate links for Dragon Shield. In case you'd like to purchase any gaming supplies, you can follow those links and help out the channel while you do so. And I'd also just like to take a moment to thank all the patrons who support me on Patreon. But otherwise, though, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Use code 8thPlaceDave to save 5% on your order at Face to Face Games, Canada's largest Magic the Gathering store. Support the channel and visit face2facegames.com today.